There are a lot of outstanding red dot sight options on the market as of 2010. This is one of them, and I mentioned it in my SGL 2131 review video. I said just go out and buy it. You'll love it, and you will. It is the Bushnell TRS-25 red dot sight. Hello world, Nut and Fancy. Quick, semi-produced review video, getting the information out to you on what I think is a great alternative to perhaps an EOTech or an aim point sight option, both of which are outstanding but very expensive. The TRS-25, the Bushnell, this one right here, has been in the project for about 6 months, undergoing testing, mounted on an SGL 31. My son and I went out and blasted, I don't know, 400 rounds or so with the TRS-25, and just kind of some fun tactical drills to see how it did. Later on, I took it out on a separate outing. And it was cold on both of those occasions, and the sight performed perfectly. It's a great alternative to a more expensive sight offering by Aimpoint, and that is the H1, T1, I think maybe R1 it's called too. It's the Micro Aimpoint, which is a 4 MOA red dot sight. Very expensive. Dude, seriously, I think that Aimpoint Micro, at least the H1 version, H-1, comes in at around $560. That's crazy. The Bushnell TRS-25, from all that I can see right now, is pretty much similar to that red dot by Aimpoint. It has the same quality levels, the same optics levels, because I have looked at them, not side by side, but individually. Obviously use this one, but I have studied the Aimpoint Micro. I don't see a lot of difference. Some quality things that I will look for when I look at one of these micro aim points. First and foremost, here's the cover coming off. Oh, here comes the sidetrack. My hands are dinged up as usual. In fact, I probably would put my gloves on so they're not distracting. There's some scrapes and cuts sliding down a glacier. No joke. You'll see the video coming. There's 2 burn marks on my pinkies as I rappelled a fast rope down a rope on a cliff, a small cliff that we had to navigate on a ridgeline. Also will be in the same series of videos. Check this out. I was wearing my mechanics gloves when I did it. Melted right through, and I was like saying to myself, well, kind of go slow. These aren't exactly climbing gloves. I thought I was going slow enough. Apparently not. Melted right through the glove into my finger. That's a burn blister right there that's formed. Wicked. Can you imagine what it would have been like had I not been wearing the gloves? Nasty. Sorry, little distraction there. On back to the review video. Okay, what I look for when I look at any type of red dot sight is I want positive detents in this, and these are extremely positive on the TRS-25. They're not going to accidentally actuate. Hear that? Very solid. You can see on this version, and they may change this in the future, 11 daylight settings. Some criticisms that are valid and often leveled at what might be termed value red dot optics are brightness levels. Running a CR2032, that's 2032, 3-volt battery, sometimes they just don't produce enough brightness levels for bright conditions, like you've seen us in the Nut and Fancy project often, shooting in snow. A good example of that would be on this Keltec SU-22, an outstanding gun. Watch for the review sometime here in TMP. That's wearing an Alpha AD30 or Alpha 30 red dot sight, which is excellent. It's lightweight, has a 2 MOA red dot sight on it. Well, I'll talk about that here in a second. The brightness level, even though it's listed at 11, not very high. I have noticed it taking it out into the snow areas. I wished it would go brighter. Have not seen that problem at all with the TRS-25. It cranks it, and it goes low too. So if you're in dark conditions, go into settings 1, 2, or 3, perfection. Easily adjustable. These are all O-ring sealed caps. That's pretty standard for all these sights. Nothing new there. Another beef I have with some sights. Let me turn this on, have you take a look. See, I'll put it on, I don't know, 8. There you go. See that? That's all on level 8 and it's still bright. But I don't like it when they're overly green. Some of the red dot sights by like NC Star have this problem. They're very green. They have to have somewhat of a greenish tint in order to produce the red dot on it. It'll look orange on that side. I understand that. That's pretty normal. I hate it when it's overly green. Look through your optic. If you're not going to buy a TRS-25, look through it and see if it's too dark. A lot of the really high value, i.e. cheap, I won't say high value, they're just cheap red dot sights come that way. Has a Picatinny Weaver rail built into it. The sight itself weighs about 3.7 is what the factory tells us. Realistically, about 4.2 with the battery in it, according to the Nut and Fancy scale at least. So easily adjustable, nice detents, good brightness levels. It's tough, it's rugged. To me, 4.2 ounces is super light. Wait a minute, Nut and Fancy. I thought you loved optics, i.e. scopes, for your tactical carbines. The answer is yes, I do. When I know that my ranges may progress out to, I don't know, here's a little bit of philosophy, out to 200, 300 yards, meters, then yeah, I'll definitely opt for a scope like this. And this is another high value scope. What is it? The Weaver 2x7. I've talked about it a lot. However, a lot of your engagements, both for recreation, like if you just go out and do your running guns, probably will be within 100 yards, maybe even defensively speaking as well. Knowing that, a red dot is still a very viable option, and it's very lightweight, it's very compact. That's a huge benefit, making it more maneuverable on your gun. The only well, there's a couple downsides. You're going to have it turned on, right? The battery life on the TRS-25 is listed at 3,000 hours continuous use with a fresh 2032, probably in temperate conditions. I would say about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so you'll have to meter that. If you're in a threat situation, leave the red dot sight on. That's what I'd recommend. And can you co-witness this? I don't know, it just depends on the gun. I did not mount this on an AR-15 for AR guys that are wondering. You could put some riser blocks on it, probably fool around with it to get it to co-witness. That is not an AR-15 mount that it's on, and I'm glad it's not. Because if it is, kind of like the EOTech XPS2 series, it raises it up, since an AR-15 needs it higher, right? So if this was an AR mount, it wouldn't be low like it is now. It's going to have a bunch of height built into it, which I found out, of course, shooting the XPS 2-2 on the SGL 21 in Breaking Contact series of videos. Too high for an AR series. By the way, this is mounted on the excellent KVAR KV-04 mount, which slides onto the receiver of your AR, not your AR, but your SGL or AK series of rifle. There's the optics rail, and it just mounts like that. I actually, as you can see, and this is kind of a weird angle, let me see if I can get this. I kind of like having my red dot on a separate rail, my 2x7 scope on a separate rail. Depending on the mission, I'll slam either one on. If guys are saying, hey, we're going to go out and run some drills, 50 yards is going to be the max distance shot, I'm running this or another red dot sight like it. Not necessarily, but I mean, I wouldn't feel under equipped at all. 50 yards and under. You talk about CQB, 25 yards or under. If you could guarantee me that's all I'm going to do, I would probably opt for a red dot sight. And the Bushnell TRS-25 is a great alternative to those higher price offerings. Let's talk about value. I mean, you want to go ahead and pull the trigger on a micro aim point? Rock on. If you've got $500 extra, maybe $600 laying around, you want to dedicate it on one sight? That's crazy talk, man. If you just have one gun, then okay. If you have several systems you're equipping, you're getting ready, as I call them, squaring them away, then you might want to watch how you spend your money, right? In the box, this is what you get. Like that. Got some instructions, and yeah, I have two of them. And there's the sight as it comes to you. Pretty boring stuff, I know. Pretty boring. There you go. And the rubber scope covers come on it. I wished it had an integral or a better way to cover the optics. The open optics that you often see, reflex sights, kind of along the lines of the Burris Fastfire, which I have and is excellent, but is more costly than this by about twice the price. You can't seal them up very well unless you put that plastic cap on them. It does seal up well, although it's an additional piece, and probably in the heat of action you're probably going to lose it. Okay, I haven't experienced that myself. I had a catalog here. I was going to show you some other offerings. And I was going to talk about value. Right now, July 2010, Cabela's is selling this for $90. Dudes, I bought these from opticsplanet.com with a discount, and it was more than that. I forget the price exactly, maybe 110 or something. I thought, man, that's not too bad of a price, but for $90, even better. Now, let's keep it real, and I am trying to equip you, my valued TMP subscribers, with the best gear possible, save you money. The TRS-25 is not the only game in town. I did notice that Bowtac, or Bowtash Tactical, some guys love them, some guys hate them, but they're selling this one, the iTac RDS1 red dot sight. It's the same as the 6 Hour STS-081 that they sell on their website for $80. Looks pretty similar, and I have not evaluated that. That's a caveat you have to understand. I think from all indications this is a quality sight. I haven't shot it, have not evaluated it. About the same size, weight, it actually shows a little bit lighter, and they're saying on this RDS1 your battery life is 8,000 hours. I'm going to put a little asterisk next to that and say claimed. Yeah, same battery source, 2032, 8,000 hours versus 3,000 in the other one. The weight shows a little bit lighter, but I bet you when you throw it on scale it's going to be almost identical. The only caveat or thing that would probably, and this is just me, my mileage, turn me off on the RDS1, and a lot of guys won't care, but I do, and that is that a 4 MOA dot. The TRS-25 is a 3 MOA dot. Now, if you haven't looked, go look and see if you can find a subcompact, high quality, reliable red dot sight that will go bright enough, this lightweight, that is a 3 MOA or 2 MOA dot. The trend, the tactical trend, which kind of come and go with the clouds, is saying that you need a huge MOA red dot for CQB. I completely disagree with that. I think if you want a bigger red dot, crank your brightness level up.
Take your time.
Just the same thing I told you in my EOTech versus Aimpoint review video about a year and a half ago. You'll find that your dot gets more than large enough, more than big enough for your tactical purposes. I don't know if I can show you now. Anyways, take my word, it's quite visible. So I love the 3 MOA dot on the TRS-25, and honestly that's what really motivated me to get one and evaluate it, and I liked it so much I got another one for my own systems and different run and gun options that I have. So that's a TRS-25. Let me see if I forgot anything. Oh yeah, 2-year warranty it has. You know, is it better than the Aimpoint? I doubt it. I'm sure the Aimpoint product is outstanding. It's just overpriced. And also it has more settings. This has 11. The Aimpoint has 7. At least the H1 does. They have that night vision capable. The T1 at $630. That's insanity. You'll love this. Buy it. Post your comments below of how you've liked yours. And then if you have a run and gun showing you using your TRS-25, I'll have Verolinus go through that and maybe tag it on as a response video. There you have it. Nut and Fancy reviewing the outstanding, high value, very well made, versatile Bushnell TRS-25 mini red dot sight. See ya.